Lippy. Me too. I'm excited to be doing the 22 days. I think Jason's committed to 22 days.
Oh my God.
And we've been enjoying watching the sunrise here. We're up the hill in the car to do it, so we can see the sunrise from our house. We can't see the sunrise. The real gift of the Fool's Journey is it really helps your guides and your loved ones to zap you with instant knowing about what is really pertinent for the person you're reading for. Yeah, you start to develop really personal insights from your own experience with empathy for others, but also it just gives your guides a language, a shared journey. So when the cards pop in, they can really give you an image that will make sense. And of course, as we know, when you're doing readings for other people, it's a balance between what makes sense and what you can feel in yourself. And the other side of it is that spirit gives us messages that are completely left field that you don't understand. And we learn just to give what we get. And if we do give what we get, then most of the time that'll be validated by the person you're reading for with, oh, I know what that means. Oh, wow. For me, when I'm doing readings, it's always like jumping off the cliff. I don't know what this person's going to think when I tell them this. This is what I'm getting. You know, when it's like that, it's even more powerful than when it's like, that makes sense to me. And that's the essence of the Fool, the first card of the major arcana. And the major arcana is 3 stages, 7 cards each. Card 1 to 7, from the Magician to the Chariot, is the first stage. And that stage is all about the self. It's about getting to know who you are in relation and responding to the ride that you're on, what you like and what you want. And so the major arcana pops into a reading when you're doing a reading for someone. You know that that's to do with something archetypal in the person you're reading for. The minor arcana is more to do with everyday life and things that you can make sense of and things that are happening in your life and people in your life. Whereas the major arcana in a reading, the gift of those is that they're archetypal, they're mythological, they're the big issues, not just about the personal, they're about humanness as a group. That's what the first stage of the major arcana is. But the Fool sits outside those 3 stages. The Fool is the beginning, and that's the 0, which comes from nothingness. I think it was the Arabian people that first included 0 in mathematics, because now we acknowledge nothingness, we acknowledge 0. So the Fool is coming out of nothingness. And so the essence of the Fool is coming in to this moment without history, being like a new human, totally open. And so that's what we're going to be exploring in this ritual today. We're going to be exploring the Fool. And then from there, we're going to go through the first stage and then through the whole 3 stages over 22 days. And each day we'll be focusing on 1 card. So tomorrow will be all about the Magician. And that Magician is to do with your insight, your knowing, your spirit, your magic, your abracadabra, the part of you that can manifest through speaking it. I'm really excited for myself because I just know this ritual each day, I'm going to get so many personal insights. I'm going to be such a better reader because I'm just developing more intimacy with my deck. And so it's really great to have a deck that you love. And just so you know, we've got our deck and also the Fool card out. And we've put the Fool card just on one of our chakras. I've got one on my heart. Choose which chakra you want to put it on and just have it there to energetically charge it. And we're going to begin with you, feel to put your hand on your chakra and your card, because in a moment we're going to take it out, but just put your hand on it for a second. And so I'm going to speak some words in prayer, but the invitation is, as you're listening to me, just to do your own prayer, calling out to your guides and loved ones, angels, the fairies, the elementals where you are, asking them to please come in close and give you really beautiful connection today in this ritual. I'm just calling in all of our guides, our loved ones in spirit, angels, fairies, and elementals. Please come in close, give healing to Mother for her benefit, and also guide us and help us to really connect with our own soul's journey. Help us to receive clear knowing of anything that's going to be beneficial for us to know. And just help us to feel confident, to connect and to receive messages from you. Just asking this to please be a beautiful healing space for all involved and for Mother. Thank you. So now I just invite everyone to take your Fool's card and just have it in front of you. I'm going to place mine with the sun behind. The sun's coming up, so I can sort of get the sunlight as well. You can do it wherever you are, whatever works for you. Just gazing at this card. Now, hopefully you know the card already because it's your favourite deck. But just having another fresh look at this card and what's in the card. In the tarot deck, there's always lots of different aspects to what the artist has given in the artwork. Just notice the different things that are there. They all mean something. Now, with each deck, the artist is different. And so the artist puts in different things that are important to them that they want to focus on and share in their art for this journey. However, you and I could have the same deck and we would see different things on the card. And also how we interpret them, what they mean to us would be different. So there's absolutely no right or wrong with how you deal with the cards. It's really just about your connection to your guides, allowing yourself to relax and let your guides give you any messages that pop in while you're doing a reading for yourself or for others. So this Fool card from your favorite deck, gazing at it and seeing what's in there, what's in that art. The Fool is here and now, feeling totally free and safe in an environment where there are going to be challenges. And quite often in the artwork, the challenges are right there. It could be to do with how the Fool's stepping, or it could be to do with other elements in the cards that are very clear. However, the Fool's unaware, blissfully dreaming and dancing, feeling totally safe, fresh, they're young, they're innocent. They're like a new human that doesn't have issues or baggage from the past or challenges from the past that really colour this present moment. So that's why they have no fear. That's why they feel safe to be fantasy free. So now I just invite you to feel yourself as a fool in that picture. See and feel and dream yourself in the picture with the same environment. And how does that feel to be in this scene? There's always new lessons to learn on our soul journey. It's part of our soul purpose. The Fool goes this journey for 22 major arcana. And when it gets to the end, it doesn't rest. It just starts again, a new cycle. We're always growing and learning. But be aware of the challenges in the artwork and other aspects that you've seen in the artwork as you're seeing yourself in the artwork as the Fool. And see how that feels to have those challenges and those other elements there. But then try to know that you're safe. Know that you are going to survive the next step, whatever happens. The Fool's not focused on the challenges that are in the artwork. Let go. Even though they're there, you don't need to know they're there because the Fool doesn't know. So just allow yourself to be in the scene, unaware of the dangers or any other elements, except for the things that you are looking at and focusing on. And see how that feels. Feeling this is developing a connection with this Fool in your deck. It's very rich. It's not about remembering anything in particular. It's just about letting the insights come as they come. What does it feel like? What are you experiencing as the Fool in this scene? You're not bogged down by worries or self-doubt. Whatever you feel is perfect. Allow that to rest for a minute. Just complete that. Just come back to yourself. Just be with yourself for a moment. Take a moment of breath. Just be gentle and loving to self and have this moment with yourself. Letting go of all effort, just focusing on being very present. And now I invite you to let your focus come back to your own life journey and something that's happening in your life right now. It could be something that's challenging in your life right now, or something that's exciting in your life right now. And of course, there's so many things. So just invite you to choose one aspect of your life that you'd like to focus on for this meditation. And another time, you can do other things in your own time. But come to a decision of choice about what aspect you're going to be focusing on, and then be with that dream. What's happening in that circumstance in your life right now? And just be with that. Find the essence of the action, the happening. Not with effort of using your mental activity, but just by relaxing with your gaze, your awareness, your attention, that scene that's happening in your life right now. I just invite you now to imagine yourself as the fool. And how would the fool be in that scene? So now, an invitation is to be with that happening that's happening in your life right now, but as the fool from your card. Undaunted by any history that impresses on how the journey unfolds. You're just curious, happy, totally trusting, feeling safe to be fancy-free. Just receive insights however they come. And then coming back into your body, letting all activity, all impressions come to some sort of completion. Because we're going to come back really quickly. Coming back into our body, feeling our feet and our body resting, relaxing, and start to move body. Come back to open your eyes again to share. I will share to help everybody. So this is my Fool card, and it's like Little Red Riding Hood. You can see the big bad wolf is here, and Granny's house is there. And she's just looking at this butterfly on her finger and totally oblivious to all the risks that are in the woods. And she's about to arrive at a Nana's house. The wolf's there, about to run in, devour the grandmother. In the meditation, I found that I just wanted to do something around Jason and I. The trust issue that I had, because I've been cheated on by past partners, had issues and breakups in my life and lots of pain in my life around love relationships. And so to be the fool and not be scared that there's going to be dishonesty, to not be scared that some other gay man's going to come in and take this spunk away from me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like tricky. So that's what I got when I was the fool in that scene. I saw, oh, even though there are risks, oblivious and trusting. So for me, in my essence, what's come through today is that trust that I'm going to be in this moment and nothing can hurt me. And that's a choice to choose to trust. Yeah, that's what I got from that.
I'm using the Cat Black deck, the Golden Tarot, and I just realized last night when I was looking at the Fool that the Fool had a drum for the first time in this card, like going on a shamanic journey. And it never occurred to me because, you know, the Fool has the aspects of being naive and not having been carefree. And that's just so opposite to where I am at the moment in my life. So when I have a new beginning, I don't feel carefree. I don't feel that it's an adventure. It's just another journey. But what I saw from this Fool is I can retain that knowledge and kind of go on the journey of really being present and aware. I don't have to go on it being foolish and flippant, which is sometimes what the Fool can be. So that was really great to know that, you know, in every situation, I can draw on that wisdom, that other aspect of the Fool, which is actually quite beautiful, and there is knowledge there. But there's also that anticipation of what's coming next, but not judging it and not being afraid of it, just being open to whatever the next step is. Yeah, that was really great. And for me, in my life, there's so much going on. You know, when you get stuck in the cycle where you just keep doing life as it is without actually finding the meaning in it. So for me, bring out those archetypal characters in the Fool to kind of see the meaning of the day-to-day things that we do in our life. There is meaning to it, you know, and to be more present, you know, like when you're vacuuming, how dreary is that? But look into the aspects of it, you know, the clean environment. I'm going to enjoy vacuuming more now.
In the moment.
Yeah.
That was awesome. You took me on a journey there. So my Fool card's from the Crystal Power Tarot by Jane Wallace. She always puts a crystal in it, but this one's got the 7, so the chakras, all the chakras. And as you see where he's stepping, he's got the chakras and he's turned around and he's got his, you know, got his flower and just going with it and going through a door. Yeah, exploring. And last night I was sort of like the Fool. I got this eagle which had pure shell, and I started decorating with crystals that I found, little chips and pieces. And it's not my scene. Like, I don't usually create like that, but I just thought, just what the heck, I wanted to do it and just flow through it. And what happens, happens. And yeah, so I'm a bit judgmental of myself that it's not perfect. And so I'm just going, you know what? I'm just letting spirit take over and trusting. So, yeah, so I suppose that's a part of the Fool's journey, is just going through that.
Beautiful. So it's like a choice as well, isn't it? To choose to just allow, stop the criticism.
The actual Fool, I think, stems back when your childhood, and, you know, when someone calls you a fool, like, I never really knew what fool meant, you know, but I didn't like it, and it's been conditioned. And even when my adult stage, I still don't like that word.
So in the history of the Fool, way before the Rider deck, the Fool was portrayed as being someone who's like a homeless bouffon. But then the Rider deck moved it along to be someone who's got a lot more wisdom.
Is that a homosexual? Or
No, just homeless.
Oh, homeless.
Someone who's down and out. Someone, you know. So the original tarot deck, way back, that's centuries old, a bit like that, and that's what Kat was touching on there too. And then the Fool became this spiritual naivety, this innocent in the Rider-Waite deck. And then since then, that really affected everything. And as you know, that deck's become so popular. A lot of newer decks are based on the Rider-Waite deck. And in fact, this full journey that we're doing is based on the Rider-Waite deck. So I didn't include anything about the Fool being silly, because on this Fool's journey, he's actually so innocent and connected that he might seem silly to people in the second stage of the major arcana. But in the first stage, it's just a beautiful connection. The first 7 cards, it's just, wow, 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 wow. But yeah, that's definitely part of the second stage where we start to think about, oh God, I'm an idiot. Oh, what am I doing? Da, 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 all that stuff. And we'll explore that when we get to that in the second stage of the Fool's Journey. Cards 8 to 14.
I've got the Fool from the Rider-Waite deck. So the situation that I was thinking about is in relation to my home. And with the recent events, I don't feel safe at home anymore, and I don't want to be there. And what I'm finding in my current situation is that I'm really being invited to trust in the unfolding and the not knowing of where I'm going to be and where I'm going to end up, and to trust in spirit and the mystery of that, because I can feel that there's this new life. I can almost touch it, I can almost taste it, but I can't see it. It's in that infancy. And when I look at this card and, you know, I see the sun and the clear sky, you know, it's been a big reminder to me to speak to Great Spirit and ask for protection and ask for guidance and ask for support. And that trust in that relationship with Spirit is really real. But when fear is such a powerful emotion, and when fear takes over, you know, it's like the opposite of trust. So I've been really encouraged and reminded that I absolutely have to trust in the process, and that I'm exactly where I need to be right now, and I don't need to force it or push it or use my will, because that will often change the course of events. When in the void, you know, there's this potential that's being created, and in the past I've used my will because I need to control it to feel safe. But in this situation right now, I'm really being shown that that will not serve me, and that I absolutely just have to trust. And I am being met with these incredible, you know, like landing where I am now is completely unexpected, and there's the possibility to stay here now. So, and you know, the little white dog there, you know, I'm surrounded by my dogs, and they are my protectors, and I do feel safe with them. So sometimes when the world doesn't feel safe, we've got, you know, the connection with Spirit and our spirit animals. So that's what I got.
Oh, wonderful.
I used the Rider-Waite Fool card, but then I got drawn to pull out the Daughters of the Moon, which is called the Dreamer. So I'll talk about them both. From the old Rider Fool, when I looked at that picture again, you said, look at the details again. I've never noticed the dog before. What's got up in my heart today that is pertinent to me is my next relationship, my new soulmate that I've been waiting for. Pete, you talked about being cheated on, and my last soulmate was the love of my life, but he's got his journey and he's kind of done a bit of cheating. So that ended that marriage for me in a very painful way. So it's taken me a long, long time to think I could trust another relationship again. And I was reminded when I looked at the Fool card here with the dog that I used to have my spirit animals with me. And I've kind of shut down even to those. I don't want any pets. But in the second card, the Dreamer card, she's got her horse with her in the background. She's sitting at the river. And I used to have horses. I bred a couple of horses, and I was a cowgirl in my marriage with my past partner. And I really miss the companionship of both horses and dogs. And I didn't realise how much until sorry.
Yeah.
So this has been a wonderful ritual to do, to get in touch with the Dreamer and the Fool energy again, to know what I need to let go into, to open up to the new. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you. So beautiful.
And you two and your relationship has been an inspiration, so thank you.
Everyone's sharing is so beautiful and heartfelt. I can see that your connection with that essence of that archetype in you And so you can imagine now, as you do readings for other people or for yourself, if the Fool comes out, you're going to have this rich tapestry. And as we go on this journey through the other cards, tomorrow we'll be connecting to a very different archetype within ourselves, the Magician, which is your magic, your manifesting ability to be like Samantha from Bewitched. Who doesn't want to be Samantha from? So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And today, my invitation to you is a couple of things. And I know we're over time, so I'm just going to do this as fast as I can. Keep the Fool with you today near a chakra, if it's easy for you. And look at it a few times during the day and just remember that choice, that dream that's available to you. It's so easy to be in those other aspects of the second stage of the Fool's journey. It's less easy to be with the Fool, because it's so vulnerable, but it's a beautiful vulnerability. So the invitation is to have that card with you today. And also think about another aspect of life. If you have time today, do that meditation again by yourself and just think of another thing that's happening in your life and imagine yourself as the Fool in that scene and just see what comes through, what impressions come through. It'll be rich.
And so with me straight away, I go, I'm going to do a little ritual with it, like I light a candle and have the Fool card with the candle and a green stone. I chose the heart, so I'll get a green fluorite and just do a little ritual with that.
Beautiful. And so the second invitation I want to give you is to right now get your deck, the Fool deck, and put the Fool card somewhere in the deck. Disappeared for now. You're going to get it out again in a minute. It's gone in the deck. And give the deck a little shuffle. Whatever you like to do to shuffle your deck so that the Fool gets all mixed up within that whole journey.
They're all funny. Oh, look. Come out. It's tomorrow.
Okay. And then what's happening is we're going to be pulling the Fool back out, looking at every card on the journey. So not just the Fool's journey, but all 78 cards until you find the Fool. But when you find the Fool, pull out 3 cards. The Fool's in the middle of 2 other cards. So I invite you to bring out the Fool and the card that's sitting where it is right now, before it and after it. As you're finding the Fool, just have all the pictures facing up towards you and just look at them all. Let them all just come through into your essence, into your vision, into your feeling. Just fast finding the Fool.
Doing that now until you find the Fool. Just letting yourself gaze at the whole journey, all the artworks that you do know that's your favourite deck. There's 78 cards, that might take you a while to get there. Just enjoy gazing at all the cards.
And so what you've got is you've got 3 cards. The one, you've got the Fool in the middle, and the one before and the one after. So the card that came before the Fool is a gift for you right now to tune into an important aspect of that soul journey that you've been exploring to do with that issue in your life that you focused on in the meditation. This card is just giving you more information, and it's connected to your soul lesson, perhaps what you chose to work on when you came on the planet, whatever that issue was. And then the card that came after the Fool in the deck when you found it, that card is to do with what's coming. By focusing on the Fool and by learning to choose something that's going to be beneficial, then the gift of doing that work is the card that came after the Fool. I'll be happy to share mine. It helps you to have a sense of what you're looking for. The card before the Fool I got was the 6 of Hearts. And when I got set up in the card today, I had a bit of time after I was set up. So I did this little ritual of pulling out the 3 cards, and I got the same card, 6 of Hearts, that was before the Fool. So that was the same card in the same spot. So that's very powerful for me. The 6 of Water, the 6 of Cups. You can see in my deck, it's a bunch of mermaids. They're all wet and being pulled out of that flooding water by an angelic mermaid, a higher self. And for me, the card before this, the 5 of Water, is a grief card. You know, there's a beautiful gift in going into your grief and feeling there's so many treasures in going into the grief. But this card, the Six of Hearts, in my understanding with my guides, it's about being lifted out of that now. You're being rescued, or you're rescuing yourself, and you're rescuing friends and others. So this is always a card of, oh, you're coming into the light and moving away from the grief. So that's very promising for me to have that card before the Fool, knowing that my issue was around trust and relationships and being able to just feel safe. Like Bambi eating the grass. But there's humans that want to shoot Bambi, and there's tigers that want to eat Bambi. But Bambi got to eat, and it's just feeling safe, not looking around every second, just eating, enjoying eating. Why not? Why not enjoy? So for me, that's I've had it twice today, so in the same spot. So for me, it's kind of like, yes, there's a real pattern being shifted here. I'm coming out of that grief to a new way. So I'm very excited about that. And then the Nine of Wands. The 9 is almost a completion, one last step. And you can see this fairy is about to go through a gate, but it hasn't walked through yet. Just looking at this whole new garden, this whole new world. Looking at it, but not actually going through yet. What's making them not take that next step? Or why aren't they in there enjoying all those new herbs and flowers in that new place that they haven't explored yet? Regarding my thing, I'm still going to have to remember a bit more. I've got the choice. I can see it now. I can see this new garden. I can see that I'm safe. I can see that I can be safe, that I don't have to worry about things that have happened in the past anymore. Yeah. And at times they will still come up. I'm not complete yet, completely complete. But it's great that I can see it. I'm patting myself on the back with that card. And I'm making me even more ready to just let it go and move forward. So they're the cards that I pulled around the Fool. And so now I'm going to take the Fool, put it back on my body where I'm going to keep it for the day and hold it with me, and maybe tune into other things today, and maybe pull another 2 cards out again when I've done that around the next issue I want to work on with the Fool today.